Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you all how to basically finalize this walk cycle. Um, we're going to do some cleanup, uh, maybe add a little bit of character to it, um, and take it from there. So the first thing I would like to do is I want to bring these feet closer. So the feet being a little bit closer is something I'd really like to add. And you'll notice right away I'm just sliding this in. Uh, and I'm going to just basically copy, Control C, this number. And actually, before I even do that, I'm going to bring this leg in here. And let's keep it at that's fine, negative 2.5. Shouldn't see too much of a difference. There we go. And I'll S for set. And I'm going to do this for each one, negative 2.5. I don't know why it did that. And S for set. And negative 2.5. And S for set. And negative 2.5. And S for set. And negative 2.5. Oh, negative 2.5. And S for set. Same thing all the way through. I just didn't want you to kind of get lost with this kind of thing because I find it to be honestly a little bit easier to do it this way. Because if I start eyeballing it while I'm doing it, I feel like I get the feet kind of sliding a little bit sometimes. So I like to do this as like a sort of a secondary pass here. And then I need to make sure I have all my frames showing. So then also on this one, negative 2.5, S, and alright, cool. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this foot in closer. So I brought that last one in at 2.5. Let's try bringing this one in at 2.5 and see if that helps a little bit. I feel like that's a little bit more realistic. It's not much, but it does add to it. And why does it do that? Sometimes, and sometimes not. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. And this is just a sort of a generic number I came up with. I was just seeing which one actually felt kind of right, and it does feel a little bit better um, with the legs in closer. And I'm only doing this just to the translate X. Okay, that's good. Now another thing we can do when a character is walking, actually his weight shifts in his hips. So as this leg is coming down, I'm going to slide this over. I'll leave it right where it is for now. And then on this frame, so I didn't touch frame 1 yet, since my weight is basically fully on this side, I'm going to shift it over just a little bit. And then when I come straight up here, my body's going to shift this way to counterbalance the weight, right? It even does a twist too. Your hips do a twist, but we'll stick with one at a time. And my body does start, or anybody's body does start to shift here. And let's go ahead here, and that's pretty good. And then the weight starts to come down, and I'm going to shift this over a little bit. And now that he's standing straight up, I'm going to bring that over. And I'm also going to bring it over a little bit over here. And then the first frame I have set, I never touched, so I don't have to adjust the last frame. But I just want you to take a look at just the two minor tweaks I made. I shifted the feet closer together, and then I shifted the weight of the root control over to each side. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And it's not as robotic. If you just look at the legs and kind of forget those marching arms, we get a little bit more, just a little bit more of character into it. Another thing, if you start to twist at the down pose is when you're going to be fully extended. So your hips are actually going to twist a little bit with the leg, and your chest will shift a little bit towards this way. So before I animate the chest, I'm going to keep it at 0 on the first frame. I'll go to frame 4 and just twist it a little bit. And then I'll come back this way, and the chest should just sort of start to straighten itself out. And then when I make contact, I'm not even going to make a pose until, I think, is it frame 16? Yeah, frame 16, where I select my chest control. I need to rotate this chest actually a little bit this way. And I'm doing this just very subtly. I don't know, that'll work. And I'll get a little bit more out of it. And on frame 1, I'm going to middle mouse button click and drag to frame 25. Now I'm just going to play this a little bit. And maybe I didn't shift the weight enough, but it's getting there. Now other things I can do is just to show you. So like here, I can rotate this just slightly, but I'm going to leave it at 0 on frame 1. And I'm going to rotate this a little bit here on the down pose. In fact, I'm gonna skip doing the root control for now. I'm gonna just do the waist control. Okay, and we can even get a little bit more shimmy shake out of them. I'm gonna start with that one on frame 1 and the frame 25. So I just set a keyframe here, middle mouse button dragged to frame 25, and press and set a keyframe. And now what I'll do is on frame, let's say 4, I'll use this one to sort of start to get a little bit more and here it should be at 0 too. And I could even actually bring them a little bit back more. And I only like to do, I typically like to do one control sort of at a time, and sometimes I'll run up the entire thing on a keyframe, but I like to just do subtle adjustments at first. And here I know I want to bring him a little bit more forward, maybe even a little bit more than that. And maybe that was too much. Right? And then 13, he makes contact, but I won't even set a keyframe there. On down, I'll bring him down a little bit more. So contact, down, I'm going to bring him a little bit more forward. Passing position, up, contact, down, passing position, I think is frame 19. Yeah. And I'll bring him back up. Set a keyframe. And then on frame here, I'll bring him back down a little bit, leaning forward. And then on this contact pose, I'm going to bring him a little bit forward also. And I'm going to middle mouse button click that over to 1. And now I'm going to play it back and see if I did, hopefully I didn't add too much. Looks like in some areas I added a little bit too much. So here maybe he doesn't come up so much. Let's play it back. And then I have a big jump right here, so I don't want him to jump too much there either. Let's hit play again. And it's starting to get a little bit better. And now let's go ahead and I could run up the entire spine and get some really nice lag, sway, anticipation and stuff like that. But let's just jump up to the neck. And I'll set a keyframe on the neck where it is. On the down pose, I'm going to drag it down just a little bit. And then passing, and up. I'll bring his head back up a little bit. And then contact. Oh, this is the down pose, excuse me. Bring his head down a little bit. And then up here, I'll bring his head back up a little bit. And then on frame 1, I'm just going to middle mouse button click and drag. And I might even, maybe I'll bring it up a little bit. And middle mouse button click and drag and set keyframe. And now I'm going to hit play one more time. And it's not as robotic as it was earlier. Not as robotic at all. I'm going to switch to my high quality renderer and just take a look and see what it kind of looks like. And one of the problems is what we call, I had an old animator who called these pancake hands, where your hands are always flat. You never animate the hands, so that'll hopefully add a little bit too. And we never even animated the wrist, so we'll animate a little bit in the fingers too, so it doesn't look so pancake hand. But he is sort of this man on a mission, right? Womp, 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 right? So what I will do next is I'm going to start by getting into the wrist control. On the first pose, I'll just keyframe it on frame 1 and 25 on both of them. Right? And now, when he's walking, we can add a little anticipation and lag. So when his arm comes all the way back here, let's bring his hand back a little bit. And then when he comes back to, is it frame 9 or 10? 10? Let's bring his wrist back to, let's try 0. And actually, you know what? Let's go frame, I think it's 13. Yep, 13. And 16. So I'm setting another keyframe here on 16. And now we get a little bit more movement out of the hand. And we got frame 22. And maybe here, I think that'll kind of ruin it. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Let's see, frame 22. Let's just take a look. I just tilted it a little bit back. And when I play this back, let's play it back at 24 frames. Play it. Alright, so I just did the wrist there. Add a little bit more anticipation to it. Here, I'm going to turn the wrist up. And then on frame 16, I'm going to go ahead and turn this wrist back. And then I'll go to frame 22. And I think that might even do it. Let's go ahead and hit play. I think that'll work for now. Alright. Now the other thing is I want to do is, and if you notice, I'm really trying to stay true to the every 3-4 frames thing, just to make it easier for you at first, so you know every 3 frames, set a keyframe, adjust the key pose a little bit here and there. But you don't, you can change keyframes on different, whatchamacallit, set keyframes on different frames. It doesn't have to be every 3, but it's just easier that way. But if you accidentally set a keyframe somewhere else, don't worry about it, as long as it's looking okay. Then, what are some other things I could toy around with? The actual fingers here. So instead of having his fingers always like so, let's go ahead and just sort of curl them in a little bit so they're not so pancakey. And then you really can just sort of play around with it. And I'm just sort of just messing around a little bit just so they don't look so stiff, if you will. Right? And that's going to help a lot. And now I'll just do some different kind of pose with it. And maybe I just want to turn this one in a little bit, right? And then I'll take the last one, turn that one in a little bit. So now he's going to actually have some hand movements that are really going to help bring this to life a little bit. Right? And now when he comes back, maybe I close the fist here, right? Now let's just try it, right? And I haven't done anything with the thumb yet. But also, when I look at this, I think I could bring his fingers in just a smidget more. And this is just a lot of has to do with topology. But it'll work. That'll work. And then we'll grab the thumb and sort of do something like so. And maybe that's just a little bit too much. I don't know, something like that. And then when we play it back again, it's still just a little bit robotic-y. So I'm just going to throw in frame 19 just one last little animation on the fingers just to sort of not make it look too robotic, because it definitely helps, right? I don't know, something like that. And that's just to sort of, now let's take another look at it. And on frame 25, I'm going to middle mouse button click this over here and play it back one more time. And animating the hand does help a little bit. This one I'm just going to do like frame 1, frame 20, frame 12 or something, 13. And just to speed up this process a little bit, but you get the idea. And then we'll go like frame 13 and do something. I don't know, maybe he has the fist on this hand, or on this frame on this hand. I don't know. And then we'll take the thumb that's good enough. And then I'm going to middle mouse button click this frame here. Hit play and just take a look at it. And it's getting there. Also, the knees, the bee's knees, right? So here, frame 1, I think that's pretty good. I think that one's pretty good. And maybe I turn it a little bit just for fun. And maybe here it comes back here. Maybe I turn it a little bit. And then I'll middle mouse button click drag over to this one. Do the same thing on this one, just quickly set keyframe 1, bring his knee in a little bit there, maybe a little bit more. Frame 10, maybe I bring it out a little bit. 13, turn it in a little bit. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this as I feel. I don't even know if it'll look okay yet until I play it back, but I feel like it could do some good. And then I'm going to middle mouse button click from here, drag across, tap S, and now I'm going to play it back again. Now I've got a little bit more going on with it. But it is coming to life a little bit more, so let's do this at frame 24. And actually, okay, I do have a keyframe there. Alright, play it back one more time. Alright, and, you know, you could even animate the face a little bit. I'll set a keyframe on the jaw. Do, you know, frame 4. Well, let's just do like, is this the down pose? Yeah. So let's go ahead and rotate his jaw open a little bit. Now let's go to frame 13. Bring it up. And let's go like here. And then middle mouse button click and drag from frame 1 to 25. And we'll play that back. Alright, and we can animate the face a little bit. I'll set a keyframe here. I'll turn on the smile. Maybe he's smiling to begin with, right? Set a keyframe there, one on the last frame, and here let's do 0 and 0. And just set a keyframe. And now it looks a little weird. But whatever. And then maybe on the eyebrows too, I'll just do a quick pass. So I'll set a keyframe here. Here I'll make him look angry, I guess, and then bring him back up over here. And the last thing I can animate is the eyes, which don't need a whole lot. So I'll set a keyframe here on 1. And let's go frame 13, I guess. Just because you can't see his eyes there. Let's go ahead and bring them down. And eyes usually typically snap, so it doesn't really look weird if I have them here. And now he's smiling as he's looking down, but I'm going to middle mouse button click this last frame here and play this back. His body still needs a little bit of adjustments, but overall, just play around with the rig, have fun with it, add some tweaks, some, you know, whatever you want, make it exciting, fun for you, add some character to it, do whatever you like with it, and really just have fun with it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, shoot me a message, and thank you for watching. And yeah, I don't even know if I have too many more videos after this. This is one of we're nearing the very, very end. So, um, anyway, again, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed modeling, texturing, adding joints, rigging, and animating uh, your own character from scratch. So, anyway, thanks again, and again, message me if you have any questions.